This demon-focused season has been really exciting. Ever since that leak from the Gamescom Latam Instagram post, which I even made a video about, and then later the Big Bad Bear leak showing the Jujutsu Kaisen reference and the demonic aesthetic we're getting in the Season 2 chest. Now we've got a gameplay mechanics trailer with actual gameplay snippets showing Vayne and her new legendary skin, along with some other champions too. And man, even though people say the main characters of League are Ahri, Ezreal, Lux, Jinx, and Yasuo because of how popular they are and how many skins they get, Vayne plays a big role too. This is basically the second major event where she's kind of the main protagonist. The first one happened during the Ruination, where she got a Sentinel of Light skin that was clearly referenced to Bayonetta, and that skin is fully canon, by the way. So much so in that Legends of Runeterra, they kept that look and continued her story from there. And now it looks like that's going to happen again. In terms of appearance, it looks insanely good. It's like actually insane. And yeah, this version of her is canon and takes place before the Ruination, which means yeah, the Ruination hasn't happened yet. So Thresh hasn't bought Viego back yet, at least according to the events shown in the Ruined King, a League of Legends story. This new Vayne skin is completely tied to the retcon we got thanks to Arcane being canonized as the new main timeline. And this is where the problem starts. Because Vayne would have to ditch this whole gothic demonic look, including her weapons as the demon that possessed her, and go back to her classic look, then when the Ruination happens, she takes on the mantle of a Sentinel of Light. Or Riot might just scrap that whole event altogether. And honestly, it wouldn't be bad at all to imagine it was just some kind of collective delusion or media manipulation attempt, because yeah, that whole thing feels like a fanfic written by a 13-year-old or something. It's completely illogical, full of plot holes, and just pure cringe. Another thing is that a lot of people don't like Vayne because of what she did to her mentor, a Freljordian monster hunter named Frey. And keep in mind, she was the one who saved Vayne's life in the first place when she fell into a troll trap that almost got her eaten. After a lot of insistence and proving herself, Frey eventually accepted Vayne as her pupil and taught her everything she knew. That includes all the fundamentals of dark magic, so Vayne could recognize its patterns from summoning rituals and malicious spells. So for years, Vayne trained and worked alongside Frey, hunting all kinds of dark creatures across Demacia and the continent of Valoran. And when she found out about a beautiful horned demon living in the mountains who was forming a cult, they went to a stretch of land in the hills near that mountain where sacrifices were being prepared for that demon. It's never explicitly said this demon is Evelyn, but considering she formed a cabal that gathers people to be consumed in a feast alongside lesser demons that now obey her, like we see in Legends of Runeterra, it might actually be her. Anyway, one of the priests devoted to that demon caught Vayne off guard and wounded her. To save Vayne's life, Frey revealed that she could use dark magic, transforming it into a monstrous Freljordian wolf and tearing that priest apart. When she turned back to normal, she explained that in order to gain power and fight Lysandra, who was responsible for her family's death, she had to resort to dark magic, the same thing she hated and swore to fight against with everything she had. That's how she became a shaman, taking that curse upon herself. And man, Vayne didn't hesitate for a second. She grabbed an arrow and drove it straight through Frey's heart, her loyal mentor, who Vayne had grown so close to that she even started to love her like a mother, someone she cared and worried about, and in the end she killed her without any remorse. Frey died crying, with tears in her eyes, and Vayne didn't even care or bother to look. That's some seriously messed up behavior. And in the current context, before we had any kind of plausible explanation, it could even be seen as hypocrisy, because clearly Vayne is being enhanced by demonic magic, and she literally has a demonic entity inside her. Just look at her lore in this demon cursed skin. Vayne spent years hunting the demon that killed her parents, only to unknowingly become the host of a demon herself, gifted with supernatural sight and dark powers. She is driven by overwhelming paranoia and bloodlust. Wild, unrestrained, and unaware of the demon within her, Vayne has become the very thing she hunts. Man, it's impossible that she wouldn't notice that she has a freaking red spectral hand with eyes sitting on her head, along with the other obvious signs that she's not exactly pure or alone anymore. Before we keep going, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and consider becoming a member. You'll get access to some really cool perks like picking video topics or getting early access to videos. The only plausible explanation is exactly that. She's in a paranoid state after being infected by the demon inside her, acting like a parasite and messing with her mind. In that state, the disturbing paranoia caused by the demon, which is even getting worse over time, could make Vayne start killing people and animals, believing she's actually killing demons. That would be a really interesting concept. So she's not being hypocritical like a lot of people thought, using fire to fight fire, because if Vayne knew she was being taken over by a dark entity, she would absolutely try to find a cure through exorcism, some kind of therapeutic procedure involving diluted liquid petricite, or even end her own life, if you know what I mean. Because she does have a very clear stance on being connected to a demon, and she makes that pretty obvious in her interaction with Yone.
Bound to a demon, a fate worse than death.
So yeah, it's not about hypocrisy, it's just that she's completely unstable and losing it. Well, according to writer Medler, we're going to see Vayne around Demacia hunting demons, and we'll learn more about her character, with her having to deal with demons from her past coming back to haunt her. We might finally get Vayne versus Evelyn.
Murderer, demon, she's here. Evelyn, I've dreamed of this, how you'll beg and scream.
Either way, we're gonna find out in the comics that will be released throughout season 2. And while one thing is certain, Vayne is investigating the corruption happening around Demacia, and she's going to be in the same place Locke was asking about in the comic For the Fallen, in this case, the Dark Forest. And we already know this character has this whole thing with sigils, soul nails, pacts, and a 1,000-year seal that could be tied to a primordial demon, like I theorized before, in this case being the primordial demon of pain. What's interesting is that the character Tetsuga from the Spirit Blossom short story is searching for that same demon to get revenge for her destroyed clan, and the champion chosen to represent that character in that story was Vayne. It's also worth mentioning that Big Bad Bear has already leaked Locke's ability animations and even explained a bit of how they work, especially identifying his Q. And one of them, I'd guess is his ultimate, looks like the head of a floating demon or something like that, which Locke can collect. I'd say he probably gets some kind of buff from it, or maybe he needs to collect it first before activating his ultimate. And yeah, support mains, go ahead and cry, because I was right. Locke is going to be an AP mid lane assassin. But who knows, maybe in 2027 you guys finally get something. Anyway, one way or another, both characters are going to meet. They might even end up fighting, especially since Locke uses magic that seems to come off from dark origins. So once again, we're going to see Vayne going completely unhinged. Actually, the Vayne voice lines that have already come out include interactions with Locke, even though he hasn't even been released yet. And you can already tell their relationship is pretty complex and layered.
Finally, I get to wipe that smirk off your face. The truth. Were you ever going to tell me? You. Such pain. I never knew. I trusted you. I trusted you.
But it's also fair to say they might end up joining forces, calling a truce to achieve some kind of shared goal, especially to take down some powerful evil entity that's spreading this dark corruption around Demacia. Still talking about these pandemonium skins, Locke should have one too, along with Neela, Tom Kench, Fiddlesticks, and LeBlanc. I'm saying that because those champions were on the list Big Bad Bear showed earlier, with their names highlighted in red as part of the event's theme. And if you look at the beginning of the dev update video, when Pabro walks past multiple monitors, some of those champions are actually highlighted on the screens. The three exceptions are Locke, for obvious reasons, Evelyn, and Yone. I'm not really sure why they were left out. Hopefully that doesn't mean they were the only ones not getting skins in this event, because that would be pretty lame and wouldn't make much sense. Later on, Pabro even mentions that LeBlanc's skin will come out in Act 2, meaning alongside Locke's release, and it's going to be a prestige skin, while the Act 1 one is for Shaco. He also briefly mentions something about Fygar being in Season 3, but I'll leave that for another video. Medler also said that a lot of players have been asking to directly buy the skins that usually come in the pass. So this season, the pass skins, except for the prestige one, will be available in the shop and replaced by demonic mystery skin orbs, which will grant a random epic demonic skin. Now, another thing I want to bring up about this pandemonium skin line, which confused some people at first, is why Kindred are getting one. Some people thought it was weird, since death itself shouldn't be affected by demons and all that, but that's not what's going on. Just take a look at their lore in the skin. Even demons must face the kindred. Lamb offers stillness, a peaceful end to the hunger that drives all demons. Wolf offers a final tempting feast of emotion, but to partake is to feel hunger that can never be satisfied. Together, they represent a demon's final choice, nothing or everything. Once again, Kindred being Riot's absolute masterpiece, just insanely good. We've already seen how they're reviewed and interpreted in Ionia, and then in Nexus. And honestly, I was expecting to see a Demacian version, since since Demacia tends to revere lamb much more than the wolf, basically the opposite of Noxus, and how lamb would stand out more compared to wolf, even influencing his aesthetic, like we've seen in Noxus. That also happens, just in reverse. Either way, it's really cool to think that this version of Kindred is how the demons themselves perceive them. And guys, even Kindred, the spirits that embody death, are destined to die. I'm not going to explain that now, but just keep that in mind, because I'm planning a dedicated video just about them, so stay tuned. But getting back on track, Medler also promised skins for champions that have nothing to do with this theme, with completely different concepts. And at the end, he showed Ivard, the Green Father, in a Rain Shepherd style, which looks like the skin line that's getting more and more champions, and also showed Project Quinn. And we've also got more food-themed skins coming back. We're getting an Irelia, where she works making those seasoned baguette breads. And man, Pabro even said that inspired by League's spaghetti code, they made a skin for Vel'Koz, teasing it and saying it would arrive, or I guess be served, later this season. From what we can see, he's going to be made out of pasta, his Q probably going to be a meatball, and his passive effects will involve utensils. And this spaghetti Vel'Koz skin isn't new at all. Seriously, this idea has been going around for years. Artists have been drawing and post versions of it online, and it's been circulating in the League community for a long time. This one was posted on Reddit 10 years ago. And then there's this one by Sterling Moffat, made about 4 years ago. And even though it's not exactly pasta, there's also this takoyaki Vel'Koz made up by Iron Hipper around 7 years ago. And here's the craziest part. That artwork actually got picked up by an official Riot artist, Blake Byun, who made an insanely good splash art out of it. Just looking at it, you immediately wonder how Riot hasn't officially turned takoyaki Vel'Koz into a real skin yet. What's funny is that in the concepts for that splash, she even considered making takoyaki Vel'Koz both a mutated food creature and someone who prepares and sells takoyaki to customers. And that skin would probably belong to Culinary Masters universe. Really cool. But if you're sitting there thinking, wait, so this new Vel'Koz skin is just Riot plagiarizing? The answer is no. Riot can legally do this even without giving proper credit to the artist who's originally created those ideas. Because in the Summoner Agreement, we all accept when creating an account, there's a clause stating that anything you create based on Riot's material can be used, adapted, and reworked by them however they want. And yeah, a lot of skins were born this way. It's actually one of the way Riot finds ideas for champions that don't get as much attention. Fans create concepts and Riot just revisits and adapts them. Now, with all of this talk about food, did you know that we'll finally be able to play in peace without worrying about that cursed player who shows up in your game just to ruin everything and sabotage your climb? Yeah, believe it or not, that no longer is just a dream. It's becoming reality. Because let's be honest, a lot of times you get stuck in games where you and your teammates have to play at 200% just to compensate for one troll who's feeding the enemy team, giving away kills and just losing objectives. And most of the time, carrying that person just isn't possible. You end up frustrated knowing that the outcome from the very beginning. But in upcoming updates, you'll be able to vote to end a match when the system detects trolling behavior from one or more players. Kind of like when someone goes AFK and you get the option to surrender or remake when they don't even connect. So if someone is selling all their items, giving free kills, or running it down into towers, the rest of the team can start a surrender vote. And if it does go through, excluding the troll who won't vote, the match ends immediately. The enemy team still gains LP, but your team keeps their current LP unchanged. So basically neutral outcome. As for the player who is trolling and anyone duoing with them, even if they didn't actively troll, yeah, they're screwed. Like the saying goes, you lie down with pigs, you get dirty. And while League is also getting Discord integration directly into the client, the beta is starting first in the US, Canada, and Brazil. Basically, you'll be able to link your Discord account with your Riot account to invite people directly from Discord to join your in-game lobby. You'll also be able to see who's playing and join lobbies through shared group links. They promised it'll be simple. As long as players are on your friends list, you won't need to alt-tab anymore. These group links can be copied and shared on Discord, social media, or live streams, making it way easier to invite people without doing it manually one by one. And this is starting on the 15th. And no, this has nothing to do with Team Voice chat system. Riot is still working on that separately. We also have WASD controls. They've refined a lot, and now you'll be able to play ranked using keyboard movement. They didn't release it before because it was too buggy and could be abused, but now it's much more polished. They say it's getting pretty close to playing with a mouse. There's still a slight advantage for mouse players, but over time they plan to balance both control methods so they're basically equal. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next video.